Hey, I know you're here for our interview with Gregg Sulkin, star of the new Hulu show Runaways, but I gotta ask you, please subscribe to our channel. And we have a podcast. The link is below. Okay, enjoy the interview. It is the Zach Sang Show. We got Heather, we got Dan.
What's up?
And we welcome to the studio, maybe for the first time ever, but we know each other and we've talked, Gregg Sulkin.
All right.
Hello.
I clapped myself.
I was going to say, you did.
I did. I'm just excited to be here.
And that's
We're
okay.
excited to have you.
Thank you guys for having me.
We really are. I mean, you, my friend, are in a moment in your career that is so special. You were playing a superhero.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I think it is every kid's dream, obviously, to play a superhero. And the fact that obviously Marvel and everybody else believed in me and put their faith in me to actually become this, young superhero. It is a very cool and obviously humbling moment for sure.
You tap into the opportunity that is like a major franchise the second you sign up for a gig with Marvel.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you do kind of know what you're getting yourself into to some extent because of the brand.
Yeah.
So straight away, as soon as I did get the role, I was straight to the gym.
Nice.
Within
Wow.
30 minutes,
You're a
I was
superhero.
like, okay, great. Like goodbye donuts and hello LA Fitness.
Runaways is on Hulu right now. You got to watch it. I think as of this moment, the first 3 episodes are up.
Yes, the first 3 are up, and I think they wanted to get the show out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
But we're still, the 10th finale episode isn't finished yet. Like the sound isn't finished. So that's why they couldn't release it all at once. But I think weekly, we're going to be getting more and more, a new episode every week.
I'm vibing this like mini binge because it manages it for me so I can binge other shows at the same time.
Yeah, it's
You
like
get
a
me?
tease. Like it
Yes.
teases you a little bit.
I get 3 episodes and I check in next week and then I commit another 3 hours to it.
I'll tell the Hulu marketing team that they've done a wonderful job.
I dig it. I'm a Hulu Plus user. you
Oh,
know?
really?
Oh, I pay.
Oh, you pay. You're one of those.
You betcha. I want no commercials. I'm fully in.
I love it. I love the dedication.
Chase Stein, that is your character's name. He's a little cross player, right?
Yes.
And another role where you're sporting an English accent.
You mean American?
American accent. Jesus, what am I saying?
Another role, yes, where I'm playing an American. It's funny because I do not play lacrosse. I still do not play lacrosse. And to the point where my best friend is, he teaches people how to play lacrosse, like he's a lacrosse coach. And so every day I'm on set, I'm like, hey mate, like how do I say this? Is this right? Like how do I stand?
You got to be lax, bro.
Yeah, lax. That's the terminology that I've heard. I'm now a lax bro,
Yeah.
an English lax bro.
It's so cute when you say it.
Thank you.
It's cute with the accent.
That's
but
what I mean.
when you do it in like the American accent,
Yeah, lax bro. Like it's very like
Yeah.
chill.
Like it's the very
Not as
lax,
cool.
bro.
Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like.
how hard was that to master the American accent?
I mean, I've lived here now for 8-9 years, so I think I've imitated you guys so much to the point of where it's now natural. But for sure, I think obviously speaking in your own native tongue will always be the most comfortable.
Yeah.
But I think I've got to the point now where sometimes I don't even know I'm talking in an American accent. Like I tend to stay in the accent during set and during the whole production, which was obviously 3-4 months.
So
and
even offset, like
yeah, offset. I mean, it depends. If I'm single and I'm at a bar and a very cute girl walks by, I'll quickly
you're gonna get rid of the accent.
100%.
Well, yeah.
But do you have to like
The gold card.
think hard when you're speaking in English, or does it almost come
English?
naturally? American, whatever. I can't speak. You probably speak it better than me. But do you have to think about it, or does it just come naturally now?
I think now it's I think it comes so naturally to me. But I do like to spend like a week or 2 in the build up of playing an American, of just completely immersing myself in it. So going to restaurants, doing everyday life things and errands in an American accent, because it just, then you stop focusing on the accent and then you can just concentrate on acting, which is obviously my job.
Yeah, because an accent it is a part of acting, but it's a part of taking on that character.
Absolutely, and it helps. It definitely helps, because I think once I change. My personality changes. My sense of humor changes too over the course of a few months. You just kind of adapt, and so it does help. Sometimes, though, obviously on emotional scenes, it's happened to me in the past where the director will come up to me and just be like, Greg, you do realize like you're playing an American. And so like you could sometimes completely forget that like, oh, hey, like you're so invested in your emotions that you completely forget that you're...
But when you're invested in your own emotions, do you lose the character?
No, I think I'm so invested in the character.
Got it.
Where sometimes the accent just kind of flies out the window, but it happens very, very, very rarely. But it has happened. Like I think it happened once this season where one of my castmates was like, "Oh, by the way, you know you're meant to play American." And I was like, "Well, it was a crying scene, so yeah."
How do you even prepare for that? What do you think about?
What, a crying scene?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. It's really tough because the on-set experience, I'm not sure if you've spent a lot of time on set, but it's definitely not easy. You have 100 people staring at you, judging you, and you're looking at the AD, the assistant director, who is looking at his clock, and his job is just to make sure that we get through the scenes and get through the day. So, emotions, you can't force emotions, but then you have a 2-minute window to cry. So it is intimidating and it is nerve-wracking.
You really need to lose everything that's around you. Like, you need to escape from that.
Yeah, you need to. I mean, I did a horror film, last year or a year and a half ago where I was crying in, I would say, 2 weeks straight. And eventually, it's interesting because, you naturally as a human build up walls to protect yourself and not to feel pain. That's what we do as human beings. So there's always makeup on standby if they need to produce tears and you just can't get there. So that's helpful. And knowing you have that freedom, knowing that there is a backup kind of releases you and relaxes you. So that's why departments on set are so important, because they give the actor so much freedom.
What is your superpower in the Runaways?
So I have Fistigons, which is a self-engineered superpower, which I think is pretty badass because I just think, well, they're mine, so obviously I'm biased.
Dude's a genius.
What does that mean, though?
So my character has like flashes of brilliance in engineering throughout the first season, and so he creates these things on his arm which shoot out like a fireball energy type of destruction out of these gloves, and so they basically get to hurt people.
So you're not like a mutant. You made those gloves yourself.
Exactly.
That's cool.
So I think that's the not the charm of the show, but I think this show, there are so many characters that people are going to fall in love with. Obviously mine is self-engineered, whereas the other powers, some people were born like that, for example. And so there's a nice diversity both in the cast and in the powers themselves.
But the flashes of brilliance would still be considered a power, right?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess my brain works in a certain way that allows me to enhance what's going on in my brain to what's happening outside of my fists, which is cool.
And you really fought for like layers with this character, like stuff with his dad, right?
Yeah, it's not an easy storyline at all, especially because my life and thankfully I've grown up in such a lovely household where
your parents are literally in the studio right now.
That's why I said it. And yeah, so James Masters, who plays my dad, who's from Buffy, is such a talented guy, and so to be scared of him is actually very easy. He is one of the most intimidating, fierce, like powerful actors I think I've ever worked with, and so yeah, the dynamic is not great between the characters. It's a kid who suffers some sort of abuse, whether it be physical, whether it be emotional, from his father, and at the same time everybody at school thinks he's this perfect kid, he's the golden boy, but really when he comes home his dad is so hard on him, and I think that's unfortunately it's a relatable topic. I think behind closed doors, I think a lot of people go through things that no one knows about, and so the one thing I would love to take from this show, if it goes 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, I want people hopefully looking at my character and realizing that there is hope if they're going through something like that there is hope, and they can gain strength from something like that, or gain strength from observing my character and realizing that you can overcome this, you can overpower this.
Would you say that this is like a character on a different depth level for you in terms of like what's going to be explored and even like how committed you are to it? Not saying like even going back to Wizards was not at a huge level, but this is across the board different.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, every single job I've ever taken just requires a different skill. So, for example, it wasn't that Wizards was easier than what I'm doing now. It's just a multicam sitcom. Your timing has to be there. Your physicality has to be there. Whereas this is a lot more intimate.
Yeah.
And also, it's an hour drama, and Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage, our showrunners, write the show in such a fantastic way, but such a specific way. Obviously, writing The Gossip Girl and OC, they have gained success and so much success in writing teen angst and leaving a little bit to the imagination. So our scenes aren't normally 4 or 5 pages. We have a page and a half, dialogue, and it's sometimes tough to be funny and also be kind of dramatic in the space of a page and a half. And so that's the challenge for me on this show, which is kind of developing the character, but at the same time finding all these little pieces to kind of put together the story at the end of the day.
It's been a really crazy journey for you. We were talking about it before because like the first time we met was Wizards, right?
Yes, which when I was 17 and had a mullet, and I just had terrible style, like fashion sense. So hopefully that's improved a little bit over the years.
But that one role really changed your life.
For sure. I'm so lucky to have landed that specific Disney Channel show. I think the Disney Channel had so many great shows on at that time, but Wizards, maybe I'm just biased, but it was a little bit, in my opinion, above the rest. Like families really did love that show. It had such a great message, and obviously you look at the cast, and Selena's gone on to do, Selena Gomez things.
She's Selena Gomez.
Exactly, and it's just it was just an absolute blessing to be on a show with her, be on the show with obviously the Disney Channel, and so my life has definitely changed.
What did that show teach you?
How to be funny. I was never funny before that. It also taught me that this is a very small town, although small working town. It taught me to always be grateful to every single person who works on set. I mean, I have been doing this since I was 12 years old, but I think Wizards was the first time when I really saw for the first time that the crew members do become your family. And you owe so much to them, because at the end of the day they are there for you, and they're there to make the actors look the best that they can possibly look. And so I think it taught me, it was my first ever sitcom, so it taught me, again, how to be funny and how to land jokes and find that timing. And I learned that mainly off David Henry, who was on the show, who's still like my older brother and best friend. And so it just taught me just to be grateful, be on time, and keep working, keep being hardworking, I guess.
It is a small town. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and that's why it's important just to be nice to people, because the world, at the end of the day, we're all going to hopefully one place, which is heaven. So it's important to kind of enjoy yourself while you're here, I think. Nice. And be nice to people, and because at the end of the day, it's a collaboration.
You can't do anything on a set without every single person who's there.
Exactly, and so you have to kind of lean on each other, and my strength could be another person's weakness, and vice versa. So it is important just to be not egotistical. I think that's what it taught me, which was, I'm not always, in fact, far from it, never going to be the smartest person in the room. But you can kind of team up with other smart people and then kind of create this really cool project or cool line or cool delivery. And so it's like a painting at the end of the day. You just kind of have to work together and try and create a nice piece.
Do you find kissing scenes awkward still?
I love them.
How do you prepare for those?
What's funny is, so we have a lovely young actress on the Runaways now, and she was nervous for our kiss scene. And I think it is, I've taken it upon myself, I guess, being the guy, the male figure in these kissing scenes, to make sure that the woman's comfortable. I think that's so important, especially obviously with what's going on now. And I think that you, as a man, you just kind of, it's only awkward if you make it awkward. So I always talk to actresses and kind of say, hey, look, like, what do you feel comfortable with? Where, you know, if it's a heated kissing scene, like where are your limits? Where are your boundaries? Where do you know, because obviously in the take, you don't want to kind of be completely technical, but you just, if you know the guidelines and you know the boundaries, then you sort of like know where your hands can go, where they can't go. And I think at the end of the day, it is awkward in itself. You have cameras, sweaty crew members, and cameramen like looking at you, being like, "Oh, that's a good kiss," you know. Like it's all a bit weird at the end of the day. But
that's it. The whole thing is weird.
Yeah, exactly. And so you just you know, make the other person feel comfortable, and you just go from there.
Get it done.
But you've had some good ones, right? Like Selena Gomez, Lucy Hale, right? Or
yes.
Was Sophie Turner one too?
Yes, Sophie was one as well, who's a lovely friend of mine who obviously recently just got engaged. So I've been very lucky, to be honest, with all the female actresses that I've got to, you know, work with. They've always been lovely and humble and very sweet. So I've never had a problem ever in my career.
Well, do you look at like Justin Bieber and Joe Jonas? You're like, kissed your girlfriend?
No. Definitely not. That's completely like more of like a professional environment. But you know, I obviously do know both those girls, so I know that they're obviously very lucky.
You do have quite the list. Like, you have played the romantic love interest in, I mean, like, really crucial ones and vital ones.
Oh, it could be worse.
Right?
Why you? Why do you think Gregg Sulkin?
Look at him.
Yeah, look at that
I know,
face.
it's the face. It's the eyes, the smile.
I don't know. In all honesty, I just they tell me to turn up. I turn up. I crack a couple jokes once in a while, and then somehow I'm still working in this very weird, crazy industry.
What's been the hardest part?
The hardest part of the industry?
Yeah, just, I mean, the journey so far.
That's an interesting one. I guess none of it's been. Well, it's always a challenge. I like to dig deep and try and find out who I am quite a lot. So I think aside from the acting side of things, just me now that I'm in my mid-20s, trying to figure that out. Like I think everybody, you know, kind of going through different relationships, different friendships. Trying to learn about what makes you happy. I think that's been obviously the biggest challenge, because you in this industry you have instant gratification a lot, and especially our generation, because we have social media and things like that. But really, truly, what makes a human being happy? I think that's been the most interesting. I'm not sure the toughest, but the most interesting journey since I've arrived here. And obviously, I still can't cook, so that's hasn't been easy. And I can't iron. So I hope
You can't take care of yourself, apparently.
Do you have a nanny?
No. My mother comes to LA once every like couple of months, 3 months. So suddenly like the ironing gets done.
You save it all?
Yeah. It's all in one pile. No. I do somewhat take care of myself, but I either need to start taking cooking class or like getting into like a beautiful relationship where then I can like learn how to cook. That would be nice.
Take cooking classes? That's romantic.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice date.
Well, what's your superhero diet consist of? Are you eating out all the time?
Well, we just wrapped a few weeks ago, so now I'm just like, I had like 2 bagels this morning. I'm like really enjoying myself. But it was strict for maybe 4 months. A lot of protein, not a lot of carbs, a lot of unhappiness. It's been working out a lot, and thankfully I have a trainer called James Banks who does a lot of athletes and trains a lot of actors too, so he's kind of been cracking the whip on me and making sure that I stay in shape.
Is the goal action star?
I think I've always wanted to be James Bond, always.
Nice.
I think that's always been a dream of mine. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I want to own a production company where I have like, ideally, I would love to be like Dwayne Johnson in a way.
Yeah.
Where he has such a creative input on all of his projects and is basically why those projects get made. So I want to hopefully own a production company where 20, 30, 40 productions are going on all at once.
Wow.
So that's the plan.
So that's the master plan.
That's the master plan, yeah.
And
it's a big one.
but it's not unobtainable.
Nothing is. I've always believed that. I think you set your own limits. Like, why can't you go and produce 30 shows, 40 shows, 50 shows. There's no reason why you can't.
Why can't you be The Rock? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I may have to grow a little bit and eat a lot more, but at the end of the day, sure, yeah, why not?
Well, do you think that, I mean, playing the hot guy is obviously great, but do you think there's any roles that you couldn't get because of your good looks?
Do you know what? That's been the biggest struggle for me, for
Being
sure.
too hot.
I guess
Love it.
well,
No, I'm just messing with you. Good. Here's your question.
I get told a lot that my look, I can't play certain roles because of my look.
Really?
Which is very frustrating because sometimes people don't have the imagination to think of outside the box. They don't realize that maybe changing my hair or...
And that's it. Transform for a role.
I would love to do that. It's just getting that opportunity. You know, those opportunities don't come too often to people in this industry because people, they look a certain way, they're marketed a certain way, they're viewed as a brand. Whereas I would love to play some really cool roles. Like I've always wanted to play like a gangster or a homeless person or just something completely different and out of the element. But obviously finding those opportunities is hard, and that's why I do believe that you kind of have to create your own opportunities in this town. I never want to be one of those people that is like, I've been here such a long time, and I always hear people being like, well, my agent or hey, my manager. It's like at the end of the day, no one is going to care more about your career than yourself. So
and your mom.
And my mom, yeah, exactly. So it's important just to kind of create those opportunities if they're not coming for you.
But it all circles back to this city. This town is really small. You got to be cool with everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want to produce. So I would love to, I sold a couple of shows last year.
Wow.
Cool.
One to MTV, one to Awesomeness TV, and then I'm hopefully going to be pitching 2 more by January or February.
Whoa.
So that's the kind of thing I want to do, and I want to cast my friends. I want to go to set, and I want to be able to look at every crew member and be like, hey, we've worked together so many times. Like Tammy, who's here doing my makeup.
Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
Makeup for radio, I know. No, but I've known Tammy since I was 17, 18. Some of the sound guys on the new Marvel show I've worked with 4 times.
Nice.
So I would always want to do that. I'd always want to hire people that I love, I care about, who I respect as artists in their own kind of field, and hire friends of mine who are on screen too, because at the end of the day you're not saving lives, you're just having fun and kind of entertaining people. So in order to make that on-set experience nice, that's kind of what I want to do.
Great motivation.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Motivation to find love. Cooking classes so you can cook.
Yes, I should probably start with bread and butter, right? Like
There
a
you go.
sandwich.
Yeah. Or maybe like pasta and butter. Could you even do that?
Nope.
What?
You can't boil water?
I can. I've got a kettle.
I was gonna say the stove does it for you.
Yeah, I know it's too complicated.
You're gonna put it in a
enough.
kettle and then pour it into the water, the pasta.
Well, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I haven't even thought that far yet.
So, love, I think you're on dating apps. You're on one.
I
think I
was
saw
on
you.
one. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
on one.
You looking? Not like it wasn't a normal dating app. It was a cool people dating
The
app.
famous people dating app.
Yeah, it was like one of those like exclusive dating apps. I have a love-hate relationship with them because I think they're great because that's how you do meet people. At the same time, you never get that first kind of interaction of like meeting someone for the first time and that kind of like
Sparks fly.
exactly in that whole fairy tale.
It's 2017, bro. The fairy tale's dead.
Look, at the end of the day, of course, like my goal in life, my main goal aside from producing and all of that is to obviously have a family and be a dad and raise a family. So I would love to, meet somebody. I think it's so cool. It's so much, what's the saying? A moment shared is a moment doubled.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So I think
I've never heard that.
Is that a
but I
British
like it.
saying? I don't.
Oh, I don't know. I could have just made it up. I don't know.
But it makes sense. Your moment is their moment, and you experience it together.
For sure. And my parents have been married for 34 years, 35
Oh,
years.
we should clap for that. That's
Yeah.
great. No one else is
there you go.
clapping.
There you go.
It's rare, and so I think I've seen that in front of me, and I've always wanted to kind of, follow in that footstep. So hopefully, I would love to
Your motivations are so pure
find love for sure.
in a lot of things, but I feel like this city makes it hard to find love.
Oh boy.
With on the other side of that, what are their motivations? What do they want from you?
Well, I think that's a struggle in itself. Is always trying to figure out, why does somebody like you?
Yeah.
What are the reasons as to why they like you.
Publicity.
Like, you never know. You just you never know. So you always have to, be wary of that. But then you can't think about it too much, because then you just don't become a human being, and then you become like a weirdo and like a recluse. And I don't want to become that. So I think it's just, this town is small. Everybody, the one issue about obviously Los Angeles is that everybody is here for a reason. They're very career focused, and that means a lot of the time where they really do have to focus on themselves and put all their time into themselves and their craft and their career. So it's tough finding a lot of selfless people here.
Or somebody who's at least willing to go 50-50.
Yeah, exactly. That's because I would love to date somebody who has like a very good career in whatever it is, whether it's acting, whether it's being a nurse. Like, I think it's so important. And great that like more women are working.
Be invested in them, so they're invested in you. That's completely. You got to care about each other.
Maybe we should start like a matchmaking radio show.
Would love it, man. I'm only a 24-year-old virgin, so I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, you and Steve Carell should then.
Great. He's 40. Okay, I'm almost there.
Do you still talk to Bella Thorne?
I do. We're still friends. I think it's important just to be friends with your exes, if you can, anyway.
What?
Is it?
Hold on. That's a huge statement. Important to be friends with your exes?
Why be enemies?
I mean, if it ended amicably, did I say that right? Then why not?
There's a lot of people who believe that like when it's over, it's over. You move on, clean slate.
Well, I think you I mean, from my own personal experience and just my relationships in my life in general, I think I don't really have any bad feelings with anybody.
Okay.
So I just think like you wish them well, and you were with that person for X amount of time for whatever reasons, and you obviously respect them as a human, because otherwise you wouldn't have been with them. And unless someone does like something terrible to
understood
to kind of like
you want to
ruin the relationship, then of course like you just want the best for them, because you respect them as a human.
Are we talking like quarterly dinners together? Like,
I mean, I think every relationship is different. I think some people in my relationships I've spoken to very rarely, and I'll wish them happy birthday and wish them Merry Christmas, and then sometimes I'll speak to maybe one, often give them advice. It depends where the friendship lies. It depends where the relationship left, I guess.
Is it weird being in a high profile relationship like that? Because like even now that you're broken up, you're still like, your names are always like crossing paths when there's articles about you.
Is it, sorry, what's the question?
Well, like, so when I read articles, they'll be like about her or you, like your names always come up in each other's articles. Like, is it weird being in a high profile relationship like that?
Thankfully we still like each other. So if we didn't, that would be very annoying.
If it was a poor reminder every time.
Exactly. But in our case, it's not. So, is it weird? I don't know. This life is weird. LA is weird. This whole industry is weird. So
it's all weird.
And so I feel like this is reality. Like, this is reality in LA. But at the same time, if you pull yourself out of it, you realize that this is just like a interesting, unique way to live. And so you just embrace it. If you're going to be in this industry, there are pros, there are cons. Sometimes you wish that things were kept a little bit more private, and if they're not, you can't really control it. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself crazy.
Maybe you need somebody outside of LA, like Arkansas.
Yeah, if there are any like lovely nurses or school teachers listening, that'd be fantastic.
All they do is listen. Missouri, stand up. Let's send in our most, our finest ladies. Come on.
I'm not going through a list of like, yep. No,
man, they'll make videos and they'll be like, hey, I'm whatever, and I like this, and this.
Well, I mean, who knows? You just kind of got to go with the moment and see what happens.
Beautiful.
Well, quickly about LA. This show takes place in LA, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the first Marvel show that is based in LA. All the others are kind of have like a more like dark, gritty background to it, whereas our color palette of our show is very different. It's a lot brighter, it's a lot more vibrant. I describe the show as having like a glossy darkness to it, whereas a lot of the other Marvel shows are just a little darker, I guess.
Yeah, because when I was reading about it, when I think of superhero movies, I think of New York City or Chicago or some big city, and I was like, there's palm trees.
Yeah, but the one thing about our show that is similar is there are a lot of night shoots.
Okay.
Because everything just looks better at night.
Oh, yeah.
However, that means that we have to do night shoots. And so for this show, we were doing night shoots in like downtown from like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Damn.
It was tiring. It was a very
Yeah.
tiring shoot.
Yeah, and yeah. Whoa.
Yep.
Sorry. Okay. Do you care about ratings, real quick? Because you want to produce. You invested in that?
Yes, let's hear.
Do you do you care about ratings?
Oh, I mean, not really. I mean, I don't. I care about the content more than the ratings.
Okay.
I think obviously if I created the show,
You're
I
invested.
would have no choice but to care about them. Obviously, I do still care about them. I want my show to do well. I want people to tune in. But at the same time, you can't really control certain things. Like there's a whole marketing team to do that. And I think the one thing, if I want to go, I want to become who I want to become in the industry, I think the one thing I have to learn, and my parents have taught me this, is to delegate. So you kind of like have to hand certain tasks off to certain people who are experts in that field. So for example, a makeup artist, what do I know? Like, I don't know. I've got to go to the best makeup artist and say, hey, look, this is kind of what I want.
Yeah.
This is the look. And then you trust that person to go and do it. It's the same as marketing. It's the same as everything.
But it goes back to the importance of a team and having good people around you.
Right, exactly. And you're only as strong as the weakest link.
And you learn from them, you become the company you keep.
For sure, absolutely. So whatever department, you kind of just have to trust them.
Gregg Sulkin.
Yes.
Runaways is on Hulu. It's on right now. I've watched only the first episode. I have the other block, 2 left in this 3-episode block to watch this weekend.
What do you think of the first episode?
Dude, it's a great show.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
it's
You
really
guys haven't
great.
seen it, have you?
I have
Not
not.
yet.
I don't
No.
have Hulu.
Oh, I'll get. I was gonna say I'll give you my login, but
No,
yeah.
Zach, we need subscriptions.
Yeah, you should
I guess I'll
subscribe.
subscribe.
It's really good. I love Hulu, by the way. It has everything that I need. It's every show from all the big networks, all there in one place. Plus, they have great originals.
Yeah, no, they've
Oh.
been very. I know for Josh and Steph, our showrunners, they've been so supportive and given them the freedom to do what they do best, which is to write, hopefully hit TV shows.
And the show looks awesome.
Thank you.
And you are great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Seriously.
we're as a cast, we're super proud of it.
Gregg Sulkin, Runaways is on Hulu now. Do yourself a favor, try it out.
Thank you, guys.
And we thank.
Please check it out.
Watch it.
Yeah, watch it. Thank you, Gregg Sulkin.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
you.
Clapping myself again.
I really hope you enjoyed that conversation. If you did, please subscribe and also check out our podcast. There's a link in the description, and also comment and like and do things. Other interviews are on the screen somewhere, so click them. Thanks for watching.